Hey!
Hey everyone, welcome to Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Gini. Before we begin tonight...
That one's Gini.
I'm Gini. That should be Chris.
Yeah.
Before we begin tonight, we wanted to introduce ourselves because there's a lot of new faces and a lot of new followers on here. And we wanted to explain what we do and why we do this. So I'm Gini. I am Chris's wife, and I'm one of the partners in Federal Injury Centers. I primarily do all the marketing, get you guys to know what's going on, set up all these conventions, and I do all the fun stuff, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
We have 4 boys, and we live in Florida.
They're men. They're all bigger than me.
Yeah. We live in Florida. 3 are in college. 1 is in high school.
Yeah.
So that's me. Chris?
And this is me. So I'm the president of Federal Injury Centers, and we train doctors and we train you about OWCP, and hopefully in an attempt to put you together with doctors that know how to get your claims accepted. And so my primary role is training. So when you're here watching this, you'll hear her doing and being fun, and I'll be the serious one. My mother-in-law will tell me to smile often, and I usually won't because this is serious stuff. So you know, you're here tonight. We're here teaching about OWCP and what to do when you're injured at work, so that you can avoid denied claims and all the tragic things that come as a result. We've helped thousands of federal employees get cases accepted over the years. That's not an exaggeration.
Yep.
It's just a fact. We have figured out the science behind accepted claims. Our case acceptance rates across the nation is above 90%, in most places close to 100. And so, which is in sharp contrast to the rest of the country, where only 1 out of 13 federal employees has an accepted claim. 1 out of 13. You heard me right, it's terrible. But with the doctors that we've trained and the offices that we work in, that claims acceptance rate is very near 100%. So that's why we do this. We do it for free. You should tell all your friends, all your coworkers to jump on and watch. In fact, you can share right now. If you know anybody that needs the help, let them know this is happening. But one thing I've been saying is if you wait until you need the help, it's too late, which is why we do this every week. 8 o'clock every Wednesday night we do this. You should come on every week, every chance you get. It's an hour each week. And that's her meeting mug. This is what you're going to get from her. So anyways, so every week we're teaching this, but the deal is you want the information before your injury. If you wait, it's too late. And you'll see people communicating with us on here. We answer questions in real time. All you got to do is ask them in the comments, and we'll get to them eventually. But people that have this information have a better shot at accepted claims and are able to more easily avoid the hassles that come from supervisors that are really good at hassling when your claim's not accepted. So that's what we're doing here. Tonight, you've jumped on. We're going to talk about the basic elements of an accepted claim, because your biggest problem is you can't find a doctor. And so you've got to advocate for yourself, which means when you go sit in front of your doctor, you've got to be an expert at what your narrative report has to look like. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And we're also going to talk about a message, really, for supervisors, because they do too many things that cause you to have stress, frustration, anxiety, and deny claims. And so tonight, I'm going to have a message for them on the things they can do to make your life easier. Now, it's not likely that they'll do it. You can ask them to watch this. They probably won't. But if you know what they're supposed to do, it helps you advocate better for yourself. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. If you have any other questions related to this or anything else, you can ask them. We'll get to them at ASAP. And every week is sort of a different topic. If you ever have a suggestion for things you want to know about, let us know. But again, tell your friends. Share, right?
Yeah. So before we begin, since he's the president of the company, I'm the first lady of the company. I had to put that out there. Look at the camera. Anyways,
I'm not
please-
sure in this group I want to be compared to the president, but
Yeah.
let's continue.
Don't forget to like, follow, and share in order to get the notifications every week. 100% of the time we're on. If we have something going on and we can't, we let you guys know that we can't be on that week.
We missed like 4 times.
Yeah,
last
we
year.
don't really miss. It's just we have 4 kids and yeah, it's a lot. And
we travel.
And we travel
and we
so
do
much.
training live.
Yes.
For example, we were just in Connecticut, training the rural carriers of Connecticut. That
Yes.
was an awesome training,
it was great.
if I do say so, since I was the trainer.
We got to meet the president, Michael, Vice President Terry Long. You know, thank you guys so much for inviting us and the group. It was really nice seeing.
And Michael runs a tight ship.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these meetings, and his runs
Yeah.
really efficiently. So it was fun to be part of it.
Yeah, and those of you, just so you know, we are leaving to head to Ohio on Friday afternoon. We're going to the Ohio Rural Carrier Convention. We'll be staying at the Kalahari Sandusky, Ohio. This resort that has like an indoor pool and everything.
Yeah, I don't know about that. There is one there. And I probably won't
Or
be in it.
water slide.
It's wintertime up there. I'm definitely not getting in. I don't care if it's inside. But listen, you guys should come and visit. We're going to be there for what days?
We're going to be there Friday this week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we leave Monday to come back home.
And this is all we're doing. So, come hang out. We'd love to have you. I know the president and vice president, Mark and Tim, would definitely welcome you there if you're a federal employee.
Yes.
These are some of the best guys you'll ever be around. And so we have a good time, but we get some serious training going.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-hour training, and then afterwards we have a table. You'll see us when you go with our sign and our tablecloth. And I'm going to be there. Chris is going to be there. Tom and Derek are flying in as well, so we have more people to answer questions. And then the following week we will be going to the last thing for federal stuff, to the Florida Fall Booster in Fort Lauderdale with our good rural carrier state president here, Natasha Patterson. So this is our last 2 conventions. We're already getting booked up. We have 8 things booked up for next year. So we want to get into some national stuff, but
We're not there yet.
we're not there yet.
And speaking of that, so you've probably heard some training. Probably not, but if you've been involved in any training, for example, with your unions, or maybe you saw some stuff online, that's awesome. That means you know something. But what you're going to find through coming to these Wednesday night chats is that you're going to get a different kind of training. You're going to get one that's maybe sometimes a little hard hitting. Sometimes I like to take supervisors out and slap them around because they have it coming. I'm going to give you a lot of real talk, some things that you're really not getting taught anywhere else, and that's just how that goes. But that other training is important too. You should definitely not avoid it. You need all you can get. But when you come here, you're going to get some stuff that you're not going to get told anyplace else. We've just, like I said, we've helped thousands of people, and through all the problems that they've had, all the complaints we've heard, just all the dilemmas people have to go through, we've really shaped our training around solving those problems. So we're glad you're here. Share, and the last thing I'll say is also get Twitter. So too many federal employees don't have it, which is funny. I remember when I didn't have it either, and I thought, well, Twitter's dumb. And it's kind of dumb. But get Twitter. It's easy. It's free. You download the app. You go through the 4 or 5 simple steps to make your account, which is free. And then you go and you search for and follow me. Don't follow anybody else. Anybody else. Don't follow the other president, just this president. Don't follow any other politicians, any sports athletes. Don't follow any celebrities at all. Don't follow your neighbor or any of your friends. Just me, because it's a massive waste of time if you get on Twitter and then just get buried in your newsfeed. Don't do that to yourself. But follow us at the @Fed Injury Center. No S at the end. @Fed Injury Center. Because I put some things on there that are super useful to you. And at some point you'll be in front of your supervisor. They'll be telling you something that's not true, and you'll be able to pull it up quickly on your phone and say, yeah, but what about this law? And then they will have no choice but to do what you're telling them to do, because you're using facts, laws, rules, regulations. And so I put this stuff out there for you so that you have quick access to it. Okay, it's your protection. So follow @Fed Injury Center on Twitter. I'm not like I don't care. Like, you can follow or don't, but seriously follow, because you need help. And this is a really strong way to get help in the moment that you need it. So at Fed Injury Center.
Okay, so yeah, we're wanted to say Red for Feds today.
Mm-hmm.
I know Tanyelle was on here, so we always support our AFGE. We miss all of our AFGE friends. We haven't been around much with them, but starting next year, we hope to get into more AFGE.
Yeah, this has been a busy few months, and it's not over yet. But yeah, everyone in Alabama, we haven't forgotten you. We miss you.
Yeah, and not even Alabama. We have our Florida folks here, so Tish.
Yeah, but we're here.
Yeah, so we will be making more contact and be extremely busy for 2020. Some of you asked for my phone number, so mine is on there. I just pinned the comment, and so is Derek's. Derek handles all the New England states.
Yeah.
So those of you that are out in that part of the world, call Derek, because I'll wind up sending Derek your name and number, so it's just better if you just call him. So Derek's number is 787-878-OWCP, and mine is 877-787-OWCP. And again, Derek will be there at the convention, and so will Tom, our their partner. And okay, so tonight, what we're going to start off with, a lot of people have been calling and asking if we could send them copies of narratives. We can't do that because
HIPAA.
That, and another thing is everybody's situation is completely different on how, I mean, you can get a knee injury, everybody can, but how it happens is everybody's different, so we can't. So tonight we're going to cover the 5 basic elements of what needs to happen to get an accepted OWCP claim. So take notes. We're not at 100 yet, so share, folks, and tell everyone about this, because these 5 elements are really, really important on getting an OWCP claim accepted. And then that way you guys are not saying, oh, well, it's DOL is a pain in the butt, or DOL sucks, and OWCP sucks. It's not OWCP. We tell you guys this every week. You can get denied claims because it's what the doctor writes.
Yeah, or doesn't write.
Right. So if the doctor is not trained, your claim's not going to get accepted. And then you guys wind up saying, well, I went to the doctor, the claim was denied. That's because these 5 things that Chris is going to go over is really important to have. So take notes, and if you guys have those denied claims, go back to your doctor and see if you could fix some of that with the 5 elements.
So, I've trained doctors in 13 or 14 different states so far, and really we're just getting started on that part of it. We're working on the West Coast coming up. We've got our feelers out in California. We've talked to somebody in New York. We're ready to open up in Ohio. We'll talk more about that this weekend when we're in Ohio. And then Kentucky will follow. And those are states we're not in yet. But for everyone else, what's happening is you're going to doctors that are not trained at all in OWCP. It wouldn't do me any good to give you the categories of doctors at this point to get your claims denied, because it's all of them. All doctors get claims denied because they're not trained. And they don't want to get trained either. The ones that I have finally gotten to agree to be trained look back and they think they can't believe they didn't do this, from day one, because they love it. And they love helping you. So what's going to happen is you're going to go to a doctor who's going to have no clue what to do. All right, and their standard note is going to be like a paragraph, and it's going to be useless to you. It will definitely result in a denied claim. And so when you go to the doctor, you've got to take charge and say, Doc, here's what's got to be in my report. You have to write a great narrative report, because if you don't, my claim's going to get denied. And then I'm going to come back to you and ask you to rewrite it. And I'm going to keep coming back every time until you do it right. So let's do it right the first time.
Yep.
So the 5 basic elements of an accepted claim. That's what this is. The 5 things. So number 1 is time. People think that they have to report their injury within 3 days, 1 week, 30 days. I've heard I just heard 48 hours.
40, I was about to say that. We heard that over the weekend. 48 hours, 72 hours.
And so all those are wrong. Sometimes they're lies, sometimes they're just, incorrect. But the first element of an OWCP claim is that you have to prove that you reported your injury in time, which is, wait for it, 3 years from the date of injury.
folks.
3 years.
3 years.
You must have reported your injury within 3 years of the injury. On a CA2 claim that happens over 2 or more shifts, you have to report your injury within 3 years of the date you knew that your condition was work-related. And who knows when that is? Maybe you went to a doctor and they helped you understand it's work-related. Well, now from that date, you have 3 years. So the first basic element that must be in your doctor's narrative is an explanation of that you reported your injury on time. It needs to just be in there. It's going to be in your form, your CA1 or 2, but your doctor should say so. Element 1, the person reported their injury within 3 years. In fact, they reported within 3 minutes because they've heard Chris's training, and his training says to report right away, immediately, now. So the first element is time, that you reported on time, 3 years. The second element is to prove that you're actually a federal employee. And so, while it seems silly, your doctor's narrative should state that you were a federal employee who worked for FEMA or who worked for the U.S. Postal Service as a clerk or as a mail handler or a letter carrier, a rural carrier, on the date that you were injured, that you were actually employed by the federal government. If you can't prove that you were still employed, you can't have your claim accepted. Some people want to retire and wait until after retirement to report their injuries. It makes it awfully hard to prove that it was during the course of your federal employment. So when we follow the rule of report right away, as soon as it happens, immediately, now, today, then you can both prove that you reported on time and that you were a federal employee at the time of the injury. These two things seem simple, but cases get denied when it's not proven or when it's in dispute. When the time is in dispute, when whether or not you were still employed is in dispute. So if you report your injury right away, those things are not in dispute. The third basic element is getting more into the details that the doctor has to write. It's called fact of injury. And the fact of injury is a discussion of what happened. That you bent over to pick a box up and you felt a pop in your back. And that the fact of injury is that you injured yourself while picking up a box in the course of duty, right? And so the details of that injury have got to be explained in just extraordinary detail. And the fact of injury is very important. You have to be able to prove that you were doing something in the course of duty, which is the fourth element, performance of duty. So not just the fact of injury, that you were injured and that it was your back or your knee or whatever, and in great detail, but also that it happened in the performance of duty while you were actually on the clock at work, on work premises. Too many times supervisors will say you're not in performance of duty because you hadn't clocked in yet, because you're on a bathroom break or on a lunch break, but you were still on company property. If anything happens while you're there, even in the parking lot, it's covered. Okay, it is by definition performance of duty, and so you've got to be able to prove performance of duty. And we prefer that the doctors add that as one of their elements of their narrative report. That you reported on time, you were a federal employee at the time with your specific job description, that here's how the injury happened, and in fact it happened in performance of duty. And then the last thing, the fifth element, is causal relationship. So your doctor has proven that you are a federal employee and you were at work and that you reported on time and that there was an injury. But the last thing is he's got to prove that the injury, or she, the doctor, has got to prove that the injury was due to the job, that it was caused by the work. And this is harder on a CA2 claim. Not impossible, far from impossible. It's definitely can be done because there's a science to writing good narrative reports. But if you have carpal tunnel, you have to be able to explain how over the course of a 2-year period or a 20-year career, you were using your hands and that led to carpal tunnel syndrome. The doctor may have to get some tests done, and those tests will lead to a diagnosis of carpal tunnel. Whereas you step out of your vehicle and feel a pop in your knee, the doctor can then say, before this, there was no knee pain, no knee swelling, you're able to walk normally with no limp, but after this incident, you weren't even able to stand, much less walk or carry 70 pounds and walk 10 miles. So your doctor's got to have all of these details in the narrative report. Too often, the doctor's report will say, that, patient was at work, lifted a box, and felt pain in their back. And that's it. That's not good enough. Your doctor's got to put extraordinary detail. When I teach doctors, I say, Doc, you've got to put so much detail that you're laughing because you can't believe how much detail it takes. And when you're over the laughter, keep writing. It's not enough. These reports typically are 5, sometimes 8 pages long, and it depends on the injury. It depends on the detail needed. But you got to know that there's a lot of detail. I want to summarize, though. I gave you the 5 basic elements. If you can't prove those 5, you're not going to have an accepted claim. But a little more importantly is, what does this report look like? A doctor's report to get your claim accepted goes like this. It'll start by explaining your job. What are the physical demands of your job? How long have you been on the job? How long have you been doing those physical demands? Next, it'll explain the injury. And, exactly to the detail what happened. Like, no 2 dog bites are alike. No 2 knee injuries are alike. No 2 incidences of picking up boxes and hurting your back are alike. They're all different. So you have to explain exactly what happened. And then the last is the causation. It's the link between the job and the injury. And then a medical opinion on a diagnosis. And so, these are important elements. If you want more information on this, you're welcome to send us a message on Facebook. We'll try to give you some more information if you have questions about it. If you have narrative reports you'd like to have reviewed, we review narrative reports with people all the time because we're trying to avoid denied claims. But if I didn't get anything across to you other than this, I want it to be this. When you sit in front of the doctor, don't look at your doctor like your doctor's an expert at anything. You need to look at your doctor like your doctor has no idea what to do, and then act accordingly, because it's your job to get your claim accepted. The doctor doesn't get your claim accepted, doctor's still a doctor. Okay? You don't get your claim accepted, you run the risk of getting fired, because the surest way to protect your job is to get your claim accepted. So it's on you. Your doctor may have a poor writing skills, they may have a bad staff, they may have terrible systems, and maybe they just don't care that much. And probably you shouldn't have picked that doctor in the first place. But whatever your situation is, you got to take charge. Okay, it's your responsibility to make sure your doctor writes a great narrative report, because it's your claim, it's your life, your future, your job. Any questions so far?
Okay, so those are the 5 basic elements on getting a claim accepted by DOL. Okay, so someone asked, Kim, I know Kim, you said you're driving 6 hours to go to our Massachusetts clinic. So she wants to know, when she comes to our doctor, if anyone comes to our office as Federal Injury Centers, what is the wait time to get approved by OWCP?
All right, so that's a 2-part question in my opinion. Number 1, the wait time is dependent on claims examiners who don't have a time frame in the rules with which to make decisions. The fact that some claims examiners work from home, which is not a knock on, look, I work from home, okay? But I don't have to get your claims approved. They do. And so there are some elements that you can't control. And so how long does it take? Depends on those factors. It depends on your stubbornness and willingness to call every day or twice a day to the claims examiner. It depends on, did your supervisor get your CA1 or CA2 even turned in within 10 days of you filling out the forms like the rule says. And then it depends on the doctor's ability to write narratives fast. So I can deal with that part. Our narratives get written fast, okay? When you're going to Massachusetts, the doctor's narratives up there get written real fast, okay? And so you're not waiting there, but really the wait time begins once OWCP receives it, and then they just take their sweet time, it seems like. And so when it feels like it's taking too long, you have to call your claim examiner every day and be the squeaky wheel.
I know a lot of you say that you do call DOL, you call your claims examiner, and you're leaving numerous messages and you're still not getting a call back. Unfortunately, we can't call for you.
No.
You have to call, and you got to keep calling until they actually get annoyed with you calling them.
Yeah.
And finally returning the message. So we went over this last week about what to attach to a CA-17 to get paid.
CA7 to get paid.
CA-7 to get paid.
Oh, okay. So like we said in the beginning, we will often get questions that have nothing to do with the topic, and I love these. So just hit me with them. I've never been stumped yet. What do you attach to a CA7? Okay, so you want to get paid. The CA7 is called a claim for compensation, and in order to be paid for time off, typically LWOP, leave without pay, you've got to fill this form out perfectly and turn it in. So the first thing I want to say to you is that on our website, federalinjurycenters.com, there's a button that says videos, and in that page, there's some videos on how to fill out the CA7 box by box. So the first thing that happens is people fill it out wrong, and so it's denied. We have the box by box video so that you don't do that. So check that out, federalinjurycenters.com. Click on the videos tab. But then, let's say you fill it out perfectly and you turn it in, it's perfect. You're going to get denied again because they require supporting documentation in order to get paid. So here's what you need to include. Include the CA-17, the duty status report that your doctor filled out that took you off of work. A copy of it. Even though your claims examiner should have it, go ahead and fill it out or reattach copies of it to your CA-7. There's another form called a CA-20. That's like a medical narrative form from a doctor. You can get all these forms at federalinjurycenters.com by clicking on the OWCP Forms tab. We have all these there, so you can take them to your doctor. But have your doctor fill out a CA-20 and also attach it. The third thing you attach is a printout of any doctor's visits. So anytime you go to the doctor, get a printout of that visit, signed by the doctor. Anytime you go to the for therapy, get a printout of the visit signed by the therapist, okay, the licensed person. Don't have the receptionist sign it, that's not good enough. But whoever's treating you with a healthcare license, have them sign it. And then the last thing you need, every time you turn in a CA7, which is ridiculous because I'm telling you it's not the rules, but the denials are coming through and we're reading them. So you need to also include a medical narrative from the doctor explaining why you're off of work. So you've got a CA-17 that says you're off work. You've got a CA-20 that explains your condition and your status. They still want a paragraph by your doctor that explains why you're off of work. So those four things need to get turned in with your CA-7 to get paid.
Yeah. Okay, so Kim, you said, will they pay me for mileage for 6-hour trip one way?
So, Kim, the rule is this. They'll pay you up to 100 miles round trip. What we're seeing is if you go to a doctor's office that's 101 miles, they'll deny the whole thing. So what you want to do is only try to get reimbursed for 100 miles. Because if you try to get reimbursed for the whole thing, you're going to soon have a nurse case manager calling you saying, why are you going to that doctor? Go someplace else closer to home.
Yeah.
And you do this with a form OWCP 957, which is also on our website, federalinjurycenters.com.
Okay, let's see. Mike Guerrero said, would you recommend that the staff go to an occupational health doctor as a follow-up instead of their PC?
That's a great question. Putting the occupational health doctor thing in there, it makes reasonable sense that that's where you'd go, right? Occupational health. The problem is they're not trained either in OWCP. They're just not. Look, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Family practice doctors, chiropractors, surgeons, like orthopedic surgeons, urgent care doctors, ER doctors, and VA doctors. None of them are trained on OWCP. It's sad. It's terrible. Should you go to an occupational health doctor? Well, you're probably getting closer because they know something about work injuries, but you're still going to have to walk them through how to write this narrative, man, because they don't know how. And they're not used to this. There's no other system in the country that requires this kind of documentation. They're not used to it. They don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, and call your claims examiner to see if you can get extra miles approved. If they ask you, why are you going 6 hours? Well, you'll say you called the ACS.
And there's no doctors.
There is no doctors. We hear this all the time.
So if you want to get all of your miles covered, greater than 100 miles, call your claims examiner in advance and see if they can authorize it in advance. You can also get hotel stays authorized if you call in advance, airfare, certain meals, and you can be reimbursed for Uber and Lyft and taxis. All you got to do is keep receipts and turn it in with the forms. But some of this stuff requires pre-authorization by calling the claims examiner first.
Well, we have a lot of people that are going to be from the New England area traveling to our office in Massachusetts. We got Mimi King. Said, I was denied twice already and I'm heading to Massachusetts next week. We have Kim. She's traveling 6 hours one way to go meet with the doctor. Great.
And there's good news because just today we got an agreement done with another doctor to help out Dr. Guido.
Yeah.
So that there's some assistance in getting these claims out faster. So we're seeing that there's a need in the New England area, and we're responding that way.
Yeah. Bobby, you said, can you help workers in New Jersey? So there has to be a doctor that wants to get on the program. If anybody has
this program that I train.
If anybody has a doctor in mind that wants to learn this program, it comes with a fee. There's a price tag to it, so it's not for free. And
that's because I'm the consultant to the doctor.
Yeah.
Doctors use consultants all the time, and there's no such thing as a free consultant that's worth a damn.
Yeah. So if you guys are in any of these states that doesn't have a DOL doctor, have them call me. I get it all set up, and I pass it on to Joe, our other partner, who strictly does all of this stuff. So
what number can they call?
They can call the number pinned at the bottom.
877-787-OWCP.
That's my number. I handle everywhere else but the New England states. Derek is in the New England area, 787-878-OWCP. That's for Derek up there, and I know a lot of you said that Derek is great. Derek, if you can hear me, you're great. Kinda.
He's all right. Call him at 2 a.m. He loves 2 a.m. phone
Derek
calls.
loves 2 a.m. phone calls.
Yeah.
Ding. He's going to kill us this week. Any doctors in Michigan? No doctors in Michigan. We are working on that as well.
But maybe the best doctor that's ever done this program, who was trained by me, but now would not need, he doesn't need training, is in Indianapolis. That's the closest to Michigan that I can get to you.
I'm also a part of the team up in Chicago. So if anybody's in the Illinois area needs a doctor there, I'm a part of Dr. Anthony Petrone's team.
Who trained him?
I think it was you.
Oh, it was me.
And he hasn't gotten a denied claim yet.
No, he doesn't do denied claims.
He's great. If you need to get in with the Chicago office, please give me a call. Again, the numbers are pinned below, and I can get you into Chicago doctor. He's actually in Hoffman Estates in Chicago, but it's worth the trip. Trust me. I'm not saying that because I'm a part of their team. I'm telling you because he just doesn't get claims
because they
denied.
don't get claims denied. But for those of you that are new and never watched this before, this is not a sales presentation. You can count on coming to this each week and not being sold to. We're not here to try to push you to go to a certain doctor. Go wherever you want to go. The rule says you can pick your own doctor, and we believe in that. But we train doctors to help you on purpose, and I think it's criminal not to tell you about them. But just because I tell you doesn't mean that you have to go. Just understand. Please go where you're happy to go to. But if you ever want some help, because you're sick and tired of dealing with denials, we can help you.
Yes. Derek is on. He gave us a thumbs up.
Yeah, what's up, Derek?
Mimi King said she will call at 2:30 in the morning. Derek is going to kill us. So, with that said, the next thing we're going to go over is these supervisors.
So
we're not going to bash the supervisors. Maybe a little.
I'm not really sure where this is going to go. I've got this thing. This is the last page of the presentation that I teach when I go to conventions. And it's never meant as management bashing. It's not meant that way. If you're a supervisor and you take it that way, then, you know, it was management bashing. But what I've got are 10 things that supervisors can do for you to make your life easier. Now, if I was in a live room, I would ask for a show of hands who loves working with their supervisor.
I saw one or two this weekend.
That was weird. That's not normal. But if you have supervisors that you're happy with and that treat you nice, then I applaud them. Okay, hat tip to those supervisors. We like them and would like more of them. But sadly, 99% of them don't fall into that nice, sweet, friendly category. Helpful. So here's what I want you to know, and you should maybe take notes of this, or just rewind it after it's done and play this part again. This is going to help you. So everything that I'm telling supervisors, if you know about it, it makes your job or your life easier if you get a work injury claim. So here's the first thing. Supervisors.
Dear supervisors.
You are required to fill out a CA1 or CA2 and return copies of all the pages to the injured employee. So why is that in here? And why is that the first thing? Because what we see is supervisors saying, I don't have to fill that out for you. I don't want to fill it out for you. Or just, give me your form and I'll go ahead and just turn it in. None of that works for me, okay? You report your injury immediately. You sit down with your supervisor. You fill out all of the pages together, and you get a complete copy of everything and take it with you. Supervisors like to jack around with you on a CA1 and write things on the second page that are bad for you. Wouldn't you like to know if they write negative stuff about you? I can tell you that a trained doctor wants to know, because a trained doctor is going to make that supervisor famous in his narrative report. So they will not be superstars. It'll be something. They'll be infamous. So you want to leave with a copy of everything. So the message to supervisors is cut out saying you don't have to. The Code of Federal Regulations says they have to give you copies of everything. So get copies of everything. Number 2, supervisors. Your opinion as to the validity of an injury claim is irrelevant. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you think someone's not hurt. Nobody cares.
Nope.
Don't say it.
Oh.
In a minute, I'll tell you why nobody cares, because there's another one here. So we don't need your opinion. Okay, just fill out the form and turn it in. Number 3, you are required to turn in the CA1 or CA2 within 10 days of filling it out. 10 days. That does not mean putting it at the bottom of a stack of papers or losing it in a trash can. Turn it in, because failure to turn it in could be construed as preventing someone from filing a work injury claim, which is punishable by fines and imprisonment. Cut that out. Okay? So turn it in within 10 days. And number 4, supervisors, you are required to issue a Form CA-16 when employees report their CA1 injuries within 7 days. Not only are you required to give it to them, but you have 4 hours to give it to them once they ask for it. Because they're going to start reporting their CA1 injuries immediately. All of them, okay, CA1 and 2. They're going to report them immediately. And when they report them, and they request a CA-16, whether they request it or not, you're obligated to give it to them within 4 hours. All right, now for the rest of you, good, happy federal employees, the CA-16 pays your medical bills for 60 days. Does that sound like a good thing or not? Is that good or good?
It is fantastic.
Fantastic. Get a CA-16. Supervisors, you got to give it to them within 4 hours of the request. Suck it up. You just got to do it. Number 5, intimidation, retaliation, threats of termination, and any other attempt to prevent injury claims from being reported is illegal. The U.S. Code calls it a crime, and it is punishable by fines and imprisonment. So, cut that out too. All right? Retaliation is against the law. Threats of termination is against the law. Actually terminating for someone having a work injury is a crime. So don't do that. I'm telling you right now, your employees are going to contact OSHA at 1-800-321-OSHA, and they're going to report you. And bad things are going to happen to you as a result. So don't do that.
Oh, hold on. Mike, you said let's try that again. If management has to fill out the CA1, why do we as employees have to fill it out, a CA1 online? If you're with the VA, Mike, and I think this goes with the VA, because I know the VA here, they do that. They make them fill them out online. I think it gets printed out.
You have to still request copies of all the pages. There's 3 pages. There's one for you, page 2 for the supervisor, and then the third one is the notice of receipt. You need all 3, and the law doesn't say you can have all 3 unless you fill it out on a computer. Okay?
Oh, you're with Bureau of Prison?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know, like with AFGE in general,
Demand it.
they have you guys fill out online. That's what we were told. So.
And one thing I love about AFGE, okay, this is really important, Red for Feds, is that if management violates that rule, you need to go to your union and ask them to help you file a grievance because they want to.
Yeah, for AFGE.
AFGE wants you to, so go do that. Because filling this stuff out online is tricky because you're allowed, or you have a right to copies of everything. So if they won't give you copies, file a grievance.
Amanda, you said, what about writing someone up for a heat-relating injury? No, heat-related injuries can be filed. Definitely.
Wait, she said, what about writing someone up?
Yeah, they're talking about supervisors writing them up. They're not supposed to. You know what?
Contact OSHA.
Call
1-800-321-OSHA.
OSHA on that. Yeah, so you can dehydrate and die, and then your supervisor, let's see, what they're going to do then.
Don't dehydrate and die.
I'm just saying.
Please be careful. By the way, get on Twitter at Fed Injury Center, and I've got a really great WebMD article that will help you not dehydrate and die.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not kidding. That's not a joke to me. It's serious enough that I put it there. I want you to go find it at Fed Injury Center.
We tell you guys, for the letter carriers and roll carriers, stay hydrated. And if you do get heat exhaustion from carrying the mail, you can file that as a CA1 claim. And
Absolutely.
It does get accepted, I'll tell you that.
I'm telling you, you can't be written up for heat exhaustion. I can't imagine a way that you could possibly be fired. You're not a doctor. You don't know what the symptoms mean.
Yeah.
So you'll be okay, but call OSHA if they try to do that crap. All right, let me move to the next thing. Let's get to those questions, but I'm halfway through this.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Ashley says, supervisors at my job don't give out CA-16s. The agency requires employees to see the docs at occupational medicine, and they issue the CA-16s.
Oh, that's just dirty.
Pretty sure it's against the law.
Yeah, you're right.
Hello?
You're right. So get on Twitter. There's a law there. But there's about 5 places in the law that says that you can choose your own doctor. It says you have the right to initial selection of doctor. Initial meaning first, meaning you can't be told to go to that doctor first. You get to pick your doctor first. And you can't get in trouble for picking your doctor. And the other rule says that you can't be forced to go to a doctor that's employed by or under contract with the agency. And another rule says that your supervisor has to tell you it's your right to choose your own doctor.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. Now, we're teaching this stuff every week. This is the sort of information you get from us. Go on Twitter at Fed Injury Center, and you'll actually have the law. Nobody can make you go to the company doctor. They just can't. Now, it might be in your interest to do it. Maybe it's going to be helpful to you to do it. But, that's a personal decision. But you can't be forced to go. And the CA-16 is given to you by management, not by a doctor. Now, if they're set up as by the doctor, that's not your problem. You have a right to the CA-16 within 4 hours of the claimed injury, and you have a right to choose your own doctor, and they have to tell you it's your right.
Yeah, Ashley, you said you're with the Air Force Base, that's with AFGE. You need to contact your chief steward and your local president.
And tell them to invite me out.
Yeah.
I like to teach on bases.
Yeah, we've done a base already. So.
Yeah.
Well, we've done a couple bases, but it was
Have your
good.
local president give us a call. I don't care where you're located. If you're on a base, I'll come out and teach. I'm very passionate about that. You guys are getting really hosed. 1 out of 29 base employees has an accepted claim, and there's a reason for it. 1 out of 29. It's horrible. It's the worst imaginable. So we want to help you with that. Can I finish the last 5? Great. All right, so number 6.
I'll go on after.
Yeah, she'll ask more questions after. Number 6. Supervisors. Employees have 3 years to report their injuries, not 30 days, not 2 weeks, not 72 hours, not 48 hours. And if you ask somebody what took you so long, it is acceptable for them to say, because I have 3 years.
I would just stab them in the face with that.
The U.S. Code and the Code of Federal Regulations both make it clear that you have 3 years to report your injury. So if you're walking around with an injury and you thought it was too late, it's probably not. You have 3 years, okay? 3 years.
3 years, folks.
Don't suffer with this. Your job's not getting easier, especially after you're hurt. So get the help you need. It's your right. Which of your rights would you like to give up? Certainly not this one. Number 17, supervisors. The CA-17 is your responsibility. You have to give it to the employee, okay? When they ask for it, you got to give it to them because the doctor needs it. The rule says you have to give it to them. So give it to them. CA-17 is your responsibility. You fill out side A. If you don't, your employee is going to, with a Sharpie, write, my supervisor refused to fill this out. And that's going to go to the claims examiner. You can deal with them. Fill out the forms. Number 8. You are required, supervisors, to follow the doctor's restrictions in the CA-17. Let me tell you why. Because, you remember earlier where I said your opinion doesn't matter? Let me tell you why you have to follow their restrictions. Because you don't have a medical license. And those are medical restrictions. You don't have a right to override the doctor. So don't try it.
When they say that, ask them for you to see their medical license.
Can I see your medical license, please?
Seriously, we had an employee actually do that to the supervisor, and they backed down immediately.
Yeah, because they can't overrule the medical doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 9, supervisors, you are required to accept and fill out your portion of the CA7 and turn it in within 5 days. So employees, listen, when you want to get paid, you have to turn your CA7 claim for compensation into the supervisor, which sucks because they got to fill out page 2, but they have 5 days to turn it in. If they mess around with you, you have options, okay? But hopefully they won't. You can show them the rule by getting on Twitter at Fed Injury Center. And number 10.
Last but not least.
I am an ex-manager. I spent over 20 years managing about 80 employees, 82 employees. And I am as much an expert in management as I am in OWCP, I assure you. I have read every book on the shelf, and I have a master's in business administration. I am an expert manager on top of being an OWCP expert, and I can tell you the following, that number 10 is this. Stop giving injured employees a hard time. Cut it out. Your actions make or break all employees. Your station, your department, your office, your agency is a direct reflection of you. If it fails, you failed.
Yep.
If your employees revolt against you, you did that. Okay? If things aren't getting done, it was your fault. If people call out sick more often than normal, it's probably because you're a jerk.
Jerk.
Treat injured employees with dignity and respect, and that will pay off. That's my advice to management. So
hopefully you guys took notes on that. Let me, seriously, you should use the line, let me see your medical license, and see what they say.
Hey, and anybody that would like to actually, that point number 10 I really love. I wrote an article. You can find it on LinkedIn. Again, more social media. But if you just go to my account on LinkedIn, Chris Helms, Helms, there's an article. Just go to the articles tab, and you'll find an article that I wrote about that. But I really mean it wholeheartedly. Management has really got to shape up and do a better job in all areas, but especially in workers' comp.
Yeah.
Because bad management is the reason there's bad results in all things. It doesn't matter. But it's also the reason there's bad results in OWCP claims. All of it is avoidable. So if I could just get one manager to listen, to read an article, maybe we can make a difference to at least one person.
Mike, you said, can you file a grievance on a safety manager that writes that he or she feels that the staff member is faking not injured, or instead for a grievance? Would you?
Yes, you can. Yes, I would. It depends on what union you're in, on how that works, or if it works at all. You may also have an EEO claim that you should consider filing. I definitely wouldn't take it laying down. That's not fair.
And he says, if an HR manager refuses to accept a staff member's doctor's note saying they are cleared for full duty, can or will the agency have to pay that staff member? Or is it the staff member's job to use their leave?
Well, you definitely have to use the leave, but they're actually required to give your job back. And if you are given restrictions, they're required to find limited duty work for you. There's nowhere in the rules that I've ever seen, and I've read them all, that allows for a manager to prevent you from coming back to work. Again, you should file an EEO claim.
We know not all supervisors and management is bad, because I've had one call me and needed an office to go to because she was injured and she was new. So
supervisors get hurt too.
Yeah, they do get hurt.
But we had one lady who gave her own sister a hard time.
Yeah.
So come on. Anyways,
yeah.
What's some other questions?
There's no more right now. But I have a serious migraine. I've been suffering.
She's been sitting here looking happy with a migraine this whole time.
This is why I'm not bouncing off my chair. I will next week.
I won't.
So next, Ron, you asked where Chris was a manager for. He wants to know where you were a manager for.
I'm glad you asked, Ron. I managed the nation's largest OWCP clinic for about 21 years, and that's how I got started doing this. We were the largest. We helped more federal employees than anyone else in the country, maybe more than everyone else in the country at some point. There was probably a 3-year period where nobody helped more people than we did, and that's how we got started. And so I managed a medical staff of doctors and other mid-level staff and physical therapists and office staff, and we helped a lot of people. And because I do see myself as an expert manager, I had a turnover rate of maybe 3% over a 21-year period. People like to work for me, and it's because you treat people with respect and you love people. And if you show love to your employees, they show love to your customers, in my case, patients. So, it does really circle around.
Yeah. I wanted to say hello to all the new folks that are on here. We saw people from Delaware tonight.
Hey, welcome.
Missouri.
Welcome.
I can't remember. Missouri. There's some Alabamians. Is it how you say it? Alabamians?
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Or War Eagle, if you roll that way.
Let's see. Javon said, that explains how you met Gini. Actually, no, that's not how I met Chris. Because remember, Chris is from Texas.
So there was an interim period where I was a consultant for doctors, not doing federal workers'
Wait,
comp.
are you telling them how you met me? This is not a part of OWCP
Hey, but
Wednesday
you asked.
night.
So as a consultant, I was leading a sales call, and there were, I don't even know how many people were on the call because most of them didn't need to be on the call. And I realized that of all the salespeople on the call, there was only one real salesperson on the call. And so I ended it, and I got her number. We met. I discussed this thing with her, but then later on, I went ahead and married her just to make sure.
Ron, oh gosh, yeah, we met and we got married. The end. And then we have a baby, Tom the turkey, coming in 3 weeks. That everybody loved that pose.
We do not have a baby coming. We're done.
It is in 3 weeks. Tom Butterball Tom is coming.
I'm sorry you had to sit through this, people.
Maria Provenzano said, yes, I want to hear how you met her. We met, he asked, bought a ring.
Moving on.
And we got married.
But we met in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we'll be in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
Maria, check your text message. I texted you, did not respond to me. Naughty girl. Ron Jackson, he thought you were in the military.
Thank you.
Everybody asks him, where did you serve? Are you in the military? Everybody asks him that, especially when we go through TSA.
Actually, Ron, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you said it. I find that to be the greatest compliment that I could ever get. I get it all the time. I think it's because I speak with some authority and I've got a short haircut. But I absolutely love the military. And my one regret in life is that I didn't serve myself. So that was a really nice compliment. Thank you so much.
Maria said she can't wait to see the baby. You'll see it on Thanksgiving Day. Everybody's saying hello. We got North Carolina, Texas. Oh boy.
That's how you say it.
Iowa. Nice.
I'm from Texas, by the way. Texas.
Mike, you said from the great down under state of Texas.
We're not down under.
He said the haircut and the way you talk made you think you're in military.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. Nice compliment.
Okay, so again, we just came from Connecticut on Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, Monday. Mm-hmm. Friday, we are heading to Cleveland, Ohio, to be with the Ohio Rural Carriers. Mark and Tim, president and vice president.
My brothers from another mother.
Has invited us to speak at their convention. I will be there. Tom will be there. Derek will be there. We are going to be opening an office in Ohio. So we're going to start getting everybody geared up for that so we could flood the doors with all these denied cases and fix you guys up. Right. The 14th, 15th, and 16th, we will be in Fort Lauderdale at the Marriott.
At the beach.
Somewhere. The courtyard, the Marriott. I know Natasha was on here. She said hello.
At the beach.
See you in 2 weeks.
Natasha.
And so we're going to do the fall booster there.
Yep.
And then moving forward for things that are going to happen 2020, those of you that are in like the strangest places that we really can't come to, like Alaska. I know the Alaska president asked us to come. So what we are going to be doing is we can set up private Facebook Lives for your group.
Or Skype.
Or we could do private Skype for your group at your union meeting or wherever. We've had this done where we were with AFGE at the VA and he was seen in 6 other locations doing, from one spot. So we could do that.
Yeah.
We'll still come to your union meetings. We will definitely come to the state conventions. Those of you that are on here that are in the union as far as secretary, treasurer, vice president, president, please get in touch with me. We already have 8 states booked for next year for state conventions.
But let's make it a clean sweep. Let's go all 50.
Let's go all 50, folks. He wants to go to Hawaii.
I do.
I want to go to Alaska.
In the summertime.
Alaska in the winter. Utah, I'm coming in 2.5 weeks. Gonna celebrate my birthday again in Utah.
We won't be working then. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I am not taking calls because he's going to kill me. So all my calls will be going to Jennifer. Portland, we are coming for work. Not for work. Not for work. But if anybody's there, I want to come say hi.
Yeah.
Come say hi. And our app is coming to the final stages. We're going to have a Federal Injury Center's app.
It's going to be super uswe'll.
Yeah, so we are ending the year with these last 2 conventions we are done.
And we're going to Chicago in January.
Well, we're not talking about 2020.
I'm not talking about
Not
that
2020. Yeah, but So those of you that want us to come to your stuff, we'll come to your events.
Yeah.
We'll come help you guys with whatever we can. We hold Florida and Alabama and Massachusetts close to our hearts, and soon it will be Ohio. So those of you that are in those states that want to book us ASAP, might as well do it. We will be in Wisconsin. We will be in Chicago. We will be in Michigan. We will be in Alabama. So these are the ones that are coming up for next year.
Yeah.
So with that said, we're going to end tonight. I know a lot of you are sending some questions. We'll answer it after. My brain is pounding. And
yeah, the questions we didn't get to, don't worry, we'll get to them.
yeah, come to New York. Kim, we're working on getting somebody
I'm,
there.
I'm right now in talks with the doctor in New York to see if I can get them to agree to sign on.
Yeah, so I commented, if you guys scroll back up to the comments, I posted a comment with all the doctors Chris trained with their office phone numbers. So those of you that are in Florida, Chicago, you call me because the clinic's here. West Palm Beach, Fort Myers, Miami, Clearwater, Montgomery, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, Norwood, Woburn, and Quincy, Massachusetts. And anybody in the New England area, again, contact Derek, because when you call me, I have to forward him your info. So it's just best if you call Derek.
Saves you
and saves
time.
you, yes. Next week, get your questions ready. We're going to be doing Q&A. You ask and we answer.
Give me the machine gun questions.
Get the questions coming next week. So if we don't get to answer your questions this week, get the questions ready next week.
And you can play Stump the Expert, but I'm going to tell you, if you keep your questions to OWCP, you will not stump me. If you try to bring out something just to get me stumped that is not related to OWCP, I'm going to call you out, and then I'm going to answer the question correctly.
Yeah. Also, so, and if you're going to ask us personal questions that's going to require some of our time, save it and message us.
Because we only have an hour.
Yeah. So we're going to answer, like, what's a CA-17? How do we get paid? Like, quick questions that everybody wants to know, not just relating to your injury.
But just in case, just bring what you got.
Yeah. Again, so if anybody needs to get in contact with me, my number is 877-787-OWCP. Are you whispering?
And you need to follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, at Fed Injury Center, the @ Fed Injury Center. Whatever your issue with not having Twitter is, get past it. You already have Facebook. Okay, Facebook is way more of a waste of time than Twitter. So, because you're only going to follow me on Twitter, it'll be super easy for you. Every time I post something new, you'll know it's important, and you'll know I posted it because you'll get a notification. If I don't have something important for you, I won't post it. You won't have your time wasted. You'll never have to look. So get on Twitter, at Fed Injury Center. It's so important that you have this at your fingertips. I do this. This is me holding a phone. You need the information at hand when you're dealing with management. It's so important. So I'm putting this stuff here in a way that you can just get to it quick. All right? You got to get on it. And then tell your friends, at Fed Injury Center. Not centers, at Fed Injury Center. Get on it, okay? I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of new people on there tonight.
Yeah, and don't forget, New England states, contact Derek at 787-787 787 OWCP.
You just said 787 twice. It's a new number.
787-878
There we go.
OWCP. I pinned both of our numbers at
If
the
you
bottom.
accidentally dial the other one, no problem. We'll work it out.
Yeah, no biggie.
One goes to
Don't
her,
forget-
one goes to him.
Yeah, don't forget, call Derek at 2:30 in the morning to schedule your appointments.
2:45 also, he takes calls.
Yeah. 5 o'clock a.m., let the guy sleep.
No.
a little
He's
bit.
probably just getting up.
Probably.
Be his alarm clock.
Anyway, guys, everyone have a good night.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and answer the rest of the questions. Don't forget to share, like, and follow. Watch us every week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter.
At Fed Injury Center.
Fed Injury Center. Don't follow anybody else. And we'll see you guys next week. And we look forward to seeing all of our Ohio roll carriers and anybody else that wants to stop by. Again, that's going to be at the Kalahari Sandusky Resort in Sandusky, Ohio.
Okay.
All
All right, everybody.
guys.
See you
Good
next
night.
week. Thanks.